that the majority on this committee is eager to continue enabling this administration's repressive agenda. President Trump's attack on civil liberties and academic freedom are well documented. While Republicans continue their charade, new information about the Trump administration's policy of ideological deportations is coming to light.
You say those statements that you support your Jewish students. Shut up and get out of here.
Gentlemen will suspend. Gentlemen will suspend.
Get out of here, you loser. Come on. By the way, to be clear, I hold you all responsible for this. It is the attitude that you have allowed on your college campuses that make people think that this is okay. That is why this happens, because you have someone like Emmanuel Ness that says resistance by any means necessary, and I assume this person...
A commission deposition differs significantly from typical employment discussions, as highlighted in a congressional hearing about pay reductions and demotions. Representative Ilhan Omar questioned whether employers ever reduce pay, finding it unusual. The response came from a business-experienced representative, explaining that in the private sector, pay often reflects productivity and performance. Employees failing to meet standards can be demoted or see their pay adjusted, especially in commission-based roles or highly results-driven jobs, such as tile setting, sales, or real estate. Probation or violations may also result in temporary pay reductions. This practice, common outside government or bureaucratic work, emphasizes accountability and merit. While Omar focused narrowly on commission roles, the representative clarified that demotions and pay cuts are standard across many private sector positions. The discussion highlighted the disconnect between public sector perspectives and real-world business practices. Pay reflects output, responsibility, and value creation, not entitlement. Accountability in private sector work ensures productivity, incentivizes employees, and maintains operational standards, illustrating the real economic principles Omar appeared unfamiliar with during the exchange.
I recognize the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to be honest. I find the testimony today both disgusting, dishonest, and to be gaslighting, and I'm going to point it out here. We've heard that we unequivocally denounce anti-Semitism, unwavering support for our Jewish students. We have a zero-tolerance policy, and we will not put up with a call for violence. So let's explore that. I'd like to start with Dr. Rodriguez. Emmanuel Ness, the chair of your political science department, said he supports, quote, resistance by any means necessary, which includes violence. How can you say those statements that you support your Jewish students? Shut up and get out of here.
Gentlemen will suspend. Gentlemen will suspend.
Get out of here, you loser. Come on. By the way, to be clear, I hold you all responsible for this. It is the attitude that you have allowed on your college campuses that make people think that this is okay. That is why this happens, because you have someone like Emmanuel Ness that says resistance by any means necessary, and I assume this person still works at your school. Is that correct?
Microphone, please.
Any call for violence against Jewish members of our community is entirely unacceptable.
So why does this person still work there?
Any individual or faculty that has a complaint of breaking our rules, we will investigate them and take the appropriate disciplinary action if warranted.
Corinna Mullen at John Jay College said after October 7th, the right of Palestinian armed resistance is just, and just last month was filmed chanting up, up, up with freedom, down, down, down with Zionist scum. This is a professor that teaches your Jewish students. How can you say you have an unwavering zero-tolerance policy when this person teaches at your school?
And I believe that faculty member is no longer teaching with the university. Any call for violence, any call for supporting Hamas or terrorism is entirely unacceptable, and we made those statements several times.
At Berkeley, you're next. You created in the fall of 2024, you named Usama Makdizi the inaugural chair of a new endowed program in Palestinian Arab studies. On October 7th, Makdizi described the Hamas attack against Israel as, quote, resistance. Why would you give a job? See, I understand freedom of speech, but you get to decide who to hire. Why would you give a position to someone who said October 7th was justified? Why?
Usama Makdizi, Professor Makdizi, is a fine scholar. He was awarded that position from his colleagues based on academic standards.
Great. So on February 5th, 2024, this great academic, you're showing the problem, said, quote, I could have been one of those who broke through the siege on October 7th. This is what you think is good, and then we're surprised when people come in here and behave this way. I'm going to move on to Georgetown. You've got a campus in...
The hearing underscored the tension between ideology and real-world experience. Omar attempted to challenge private sector norms, framing performance-based pay as odd or unfair. Representatives explained that incentive structures reward productivity and penalize underperformance. Sales positions, real estate, and other commission-driven roles exemplify this system. Earn more by achieving more, earn less by doing less. Beyond commissions, demotions in regular positions also result in pay cuts, reinforcing accountability. The exchange exposed the gap between government insiders and citizens working in profit-driven environments, where effort and results matter. Reality intervened when seasoned representatives emphasized merit-based compensation, demonstrating that compensation is not arbitrary. Employees must contribute to earn rewards, and failure to perform has tangible consequences. This lesson highlighted capitalism's basic principles. Output determines compensation. Omar's narrow framing and insistence that commissioned positions are exceptional failed to acknowledge the universality of performance-based rewards. Ultimately, the discussion illuminated the clash between ideological assumptions and practical business realities in American workplaces.
Feel safe today, and you all should be ashamed about that. With that, I yield back.
I thank the gentleman.
Thank you. This has been hard to sit through. And for all the Jews that are out there, I want to apologize to you because it's been tough for me listening to a lot of the repulsive and repugnant commentary that's been made both in those asking questions and those answering them. But God puts us where he wants us to be. My 17-year-old this morning told me to wear my kippah, which I don't do often, but that may change in honor of all of the students at these campuses that don't feel safe to wear it themselves. And for anyone who doubts my commitment to fighting on these issues, no matter what side of the aisle they're on, they can go talk to the 2 chairmen of the board and the 1 university president in Florida who no longer have their jobs because of me. So I encourage you to keep that in mind when you answer my questions. I think we heard a lot of lip service here. And Mr. Cole talked about the importance of free speech and equal access to education. So I'm going to start with those questions with Dr. Raymond. Dr. Raymond, and I encourage you, this may be happening right now. If a student is on your campus right now with a sign that says, "No blacks on campus," what will happen to that student?
Representative Fine, I first want to say
I don't want to hear that. I want you to answer my question. A student on your campus right now, walking around campus saying, "No blacks on campus," what will happen to that student? They're allowed to walk around. Good job. Free speech. We love that. Is that what would happen on your campus?
no.
Okay, good. Would they be invited to go get an education somewhere else, which is what I hope the answer is?
It would be the same as someone who is inappropriately.
Would they be kicked out of campus if a student walked around your campus saying, "No blacks on campus"? Or would we sit around a drum circle and talk about how great it is? What would happen? Would they be kicked off? Or is that free speech at Haverford College? No blacks on campus.
Representative Fine, there is no room for discrimination or.
But there is room, because at your campus, in front of you, at a protest, students held up a sign saying "No Zionists on campus." They said, and there was no consequence for that, and you were at that event, and it happened on September 30th, 2024. You were there. My second question I'm going to go to.
A separate congressional hearing addressed anti-Semitism and extremist faculty on college campuses. Representatives raised questions about professors endorsing violent or radical positions, such as resistance by any means necessary, support for armed resistance, and public anti-Zionist statements. The hearing quickly descended into disorder, with shouting, removal of attendees, and mounting frustration over evasive answers. University officials repeatedly condemned violence and promised investigations, but responses often remained vague or bureaucratic. While some faculty were removed, others remained in positions of influence, exposing a gap between policy and enforcement. The discussion shifted to broader political debates, including alleged repression of pro-Palestinian speech, drawing attention away from immediate safety concerns. Students and families, particularly Jewish students, faced tangible threats to their security and access to education. The hearing illustrated how radical rhetoric and ideology can persist when accountability is inconsistent. Public pressure and sustained questioning revealed the necessity of drawing clear lines between permissible expression and harmful, extremist behavior on campus.
Discrimination of any form is not acceptable.
Okay, so does he still work on your campus? Does he still work there?
Yes, he does.
He does. And he also said something that said, the state of Israel must be dismantled and society denazified. Zionism is Nazism, is fascism. Zionisms are racists. And that's okay. And you can continue to work on your campus when you make those statements. That's okay. Keep the job.
Those statements are repugnant, and I do not defend those statements.
But you do, because here's the last one I'm going to do. You had a graduate student. Let's see if I can find it here. You had a graduate student who, before he was hired, made a statement. Can I find it here? The problem with your place is there's so many. October 7th, 2023, you had a visiting assistant professor write, "October 7th was a beautiful sight to wake up to this morning," end quote. And after this person made this statement, your school offered them another position in June of 2024. Why would you hire someone who says that October 7th was a beautiful sight to wake up to? Why would you hire that person?
I am very sorry that I had someone on the faculty that would espouse those kinds of views.
Good. You can go back and you can fire him. I yield back the balance of my time.
I thank the gentleman, and I would ask to submit for the record the most recent ADL campus anti-Semitism card that includes a report card that includes the three universities here, as well as others, including some that have been in front of us, where if it is conjecture that this committee and our activities with hearings are not having an impact, we'll see that there has been impact in better grades that are coming on for some, still terrible grades.
The hearing highlighted the conflict between free speech and campus safety. Questions addressed faculty and student behavior promoting discrimination, including anti-Zionist or anti-Jewish statements, and the lack of immediate consequences. Representatives emphasized that discrimination is unacceptable, yet some faculty remain employed despite past statements supporting violence or extremist positions. Specific incidents included professors endorsing attacks on Israel or refusing to engage with Zionist students, affecting students' access to education. University officials promised enforcement, recruitment efforts in Jewish communities, and programs addressing concerns. However, many Jewish students reported feeling unsafe. The hearing revealed that ideological positions can be shielded under academic freedom, while students bear the consequences. Efforts to balance free expression with safety often falter when administration enforcement is inconsistent or delayed. Ultimately, the hearings exposed the broader consequences of unchecked radical ideology. Students' sense of security is compromised, institutional credibility is questioned, and public confidence in universities' ability to enforce anti-discrimination policies erodes, demonstrating the ongoing struggle between principle and practical protection of vulnerable students.